Fit in 10 Nation, it is day 61 of the Fit in 10 Challenge, and I'm going to get right into your questions. Which, by the way, I would appreciate it if all of you would send me questions. There's only at this point, I hate to say it, there's only maybe 10 of you sending me questions. So, and there's, 30 of you. So, anyways, this person says, some days, talking about this past week, some days I was under all of my macro categories. I need to elevate the importance of being consistent with every meal. So, yes, consistency is really everything, because, why is consistency so important more than anything? Is because you know where you stand over time. You know where you are. If you're bouncing around, you don't know where you stand, and so you don't know, if things aren't working, which they probably aren't, you don't know where to turn because you don't know where you are, right? That's really the power behind consistency. So, this is why, ideally you want to log all of your weights so you know where you stand and you know where to go. And same with your eating. This is where you stand. This is what your energy intake is. What's happening with, your body composition, your body weight, how you feel, etc. Okay, now where do we make the changes? If it's inconsistent, then we don't know where you stand, right? All right, and just to add to that, I want to remind you guys that the reason why, right, we put your calories as high as they are is because we don't want to create too much of a deficit, because long term we can lose some of that metabolic leverage. Okay, what is that metabolic leverage? That is your basically your resting metabolic rate, okay? The rate at which you burn calories per day. And your body can become less or more efficient with that. And we want that to be inefficient, right? We want it to burn lots of energy, okay? Now there's not obviously a huge amount of flexibility there, but your RMR can slow down, okay? And I mean, obviously it's gonna slow down if your body weight comes down. It is largely body mass based, but it can also be based on your caloric intake, okay? So there's a thermic effect of food, but let's leave that out. And just talking about your resting metabolic rate, that can become more or less efficient, all right? So let's leave it there. This person says, you haven't as yet made any comments on cannabis use and the effects of the body on various active components. No, I haven't. With this new regulatory environment, I think it's important information to discuss. Though I've tried cannabis, you have. I'm not a regular user. With the advent of edibles and beverages later this year, though, who knows? Anyways, I'd like to get your opinion on whatever information you have about it. Thanks. All right, so listen, there are the good ingredients in cannabis, like CBD, right? Good. And, there are good ingredients in red wine, like, resveratrol, right? And there's lots of antioxidants. But that doesn't make wine good for you, and that doesn't make cannabis good for you, okay? To be honest with you about just speaking on cannabis, because this is what you're asking me, I think regular, consistent use of at least smoking cannabis makes you overall lazier, slower, and just, there's just no other way to put this, but just makes you kind of dumb. It really does slow things down, and it does kill brain cells, and that's just fact. So if you want some of the good ingredients, some of those active ingredients that cannabis has, then go out and purchase them. Okay, there are some supplements that are coming out with CBD in them for recovery, and of course they have other benefits, but I would suggest to you, whatever you're looking for, whatever benefit you're trying to get, seek out those specific supplements and take them that way, okay? I hope that answers your question. All right, listen, Kashi came by, and they've been dropping these off every so often at our gym, and I never accept them, but my worker accepted them. The reason I don't accept them is because it's a promotion, so they bring them in and they put them on our desk and they take a picture and they walk out, right? So, and I just don't want to promote it because I'm just not, they're not terrible, but I'm just not in huge favor of them. It's not what I want to promote, put it that way. These granola bars are not the worst, okay? By the way, these are not the worst. In fact, these are when I read through the ingredients, I was pleasantly surprised. Aside from the fact that they have syrup as their fourth ingredient, it's not very good. They do have, as their first three, almonds, peanuts, and figs. This one has almonds, peanuts, and hazelnuts. And most of the ingredients in here are pretty good. Okay, so I was pleasantly surprised. But normally when I'm looking at something, I'm looking at, okay, how nutrient dense is it? Okay, so if I'm going to get carbohydrate sources, first and foremost, I'm going to look at fruits and vegetables. Why? Because they're going to be higher in micronutrients, right? Like vitamins and minerals. They're going to be higher in phytonutrients, generally higher in fiber. Okay, so you're getting more overall nutrition per calorie out of those than you are from something like a starch, like white rice or pasta or, bread or, these are not that bad, okay? But, I don't really like the fact there's the syrup added in there. So, but, I've seen worse bars. What I'm trying to say is try to choose the sources that are very nutrient dense, okay? Could you have these in your Fit and 10? Of course, you guys can have anything you want. But I'm going to try to encourage nutrient dense food. Everything I put in my mouth, I try to make as nutrient dense as possible. Okay? So these are definitely ingredient wise, these cashew bars are actually not too bad. I'm not promoting them, by the way, but they're actually not that bad. I've seen much worse, okay? But overall, they're not super nutrient dense. These are actually, like I said, because of the ingredients, not so bad. Just the syrups they put in these things, just not a huge fan. Okay, message of the day. What is the message of the day? Progression, not perfection. I know I keep stressing this, but I'm going to say it again. Progression, not perfection, okay? Don't be off and on with this. Be consistent. Do something that you're capable of doing on a consistent basis and build on that. All right? I know it's day 61, but day 61 can be day 1. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? There is no rule that says you can't start today, okay? And carry on. There is no rule, okay? It's never too late. It's never too late, all right? So progression, not perfection. Progression, not perfection, okay? Try to improve. That is the when it, just speaking about yourself and whatever endeavor you're doing, think about improving whatever you're doing. Forget about what somebody else is doing. Forget about how good somebody else is doing. It's hard to do. I understand that, especially in a society where we're so social media intensive. Facebook and Instagram and etc. But try not to compare yourself. Think about your own progression and think about self-improvement and focus on that. Set some small goals and build on that, okay? I set some high goals in this challenge. There's no doubt about it, for sure, okay? And, like I said to you guys, kudos to you for jumping in and doing this. Okay, you guys, day 61, tomorrow's day 62, obviously. We're getting towards the end. I will send out the calendar for scans, okay? I will do that promptly. I will do that by tonight, okay? The calendar for the scans come out. Send out an email today. And so you guys can book your scans in for 2 weeks from now, okay? If you can't get in, let me know, and we'll get you in at some other time, okay? Privately speaking, okay? But try to do the calendar. It makes my life easier, please, okay? All right, submit, commit. 4 workouts this week and next week, 4 weight training workouts. Do all your cardio, you guys. Consistency with your diet, too, all right? Talk to you guys all soon. Have a wonderful afternoon.